Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and I've got a lot of books that I need to try a chapter of. I was inspired by Steph from Novelty Corner for this because she recently did a try a chapter video that was like ebooks, and so I was like, I have over 200 ebooks on my Kindle. Of those, let's just say Stuff Your Kindle Day was a thing I did not know of until Christmas of 2023.
Was it my fault?
No, for once it wasn't you.
Yay.
I think it was myself. I wish I still was oblivious to these things, because in the space of a year, I know it's nowhere near as bad as some people can be.
Don't call me out like that. So rude.
You called yourself out in your own videos.
900 plus.
I wasn't going to say how many. So I'm not as bad as some people, but it's still the fact that in just over a year, my ebook count has doubled or more than doubled because of Stuff Your Kindle Days. It might have been Jonah's fault that I found it. If it's not Ren, it's usually Jonah. We're just going to blame Jonah. So I was like, okay, let's try these out. And I went a little bit mad for the first couple that I did. Now I tend to be way more selective because A, I'm aware that I haven't been reading the ones that I've already got. And B, the ones that I have read have been decidedly average. I might have one or two that are amazing. Sex Wizards. However, I've also had some that have been spectacularly bad. And as in the sense of one of those books, I have even said that the book is a masterclass on how not to write a book. I made a document on Sheets recently, and I went through every single ebook that I have. I've separated them into four. I've got my KU library just so I can keep track of what's on there. Other ebooks which are traditionally published ones, they're just the ebook version of. Then I've got the generic indie, so indie books that I have actually paid for. I didn't get through Stuff Your Kindle, but by far the biggest category is Stuff Your Kindle at 113 books. So Steph gave me this idea when I saw in her video that I think about half of the things she tried, she ended up DNFing. And that meant that she immediately was able to clear like 5 books out of her Kindle. And I thought, this is amazing. This is fantastic. Why have I not done this yet? So that's what I've done. I've copied all of my Stuff Your Kindle books into this spreadsheet. And I'm now going to do a random number generator. 10 is good to start with. I have no doubts that the end of this video will be back in England. So all I'm going to do right now is roll. I've got my random number generator. Okay, roll number 1. 35, 63, 98, 18, 20, 56, 50, 72, 102, 5. Okay, I'm going to go through them in numerical order. So our 10 are going to be Claiming Mia, which is .com Wolves Book 1. A Billionaire Inventor for Christmas, A Sweet Second Chance Romance. I kind of didn't want this because it's a Christmas book. I'm re-rolling that one because I don't want Christmas books. I'm going to save those for like this Christmas. And we've got 3. 3 is Urban Mythic box set. So this is like a box set of multiple urban myth stories. So I'll probably just like read one of those. A Love Affair with My Boss, a Valentine's Date series, or Valentine's is the next holiday coming up. Wings of Fire, an urban fantasy romance. Power, a mafia suspense. That one could be good. The Oracle's Dream. Baked and Brewed. This looks like a cozy one that I've been kind of excited for. So I'm glad that this one came up. Captured, A Shift in Shadow, and then 102, Havoc and Hauntings. So those are our 10 books that we're going to start with. I don't know when I'm going to start this vlog, but I at least wanted to get them rolled today. So those are the ones that we're starting with, and I will let you know as I read them what I think and if I'm going to continue them or if they're going to be deleted straight away off my Kindle. Watch this space. It's saying that I purchased it. I would say I've got some tea, but it's coffee. In spirit, we have the tea. Because this project is going to be very good for my unhaul and very cathartic for clearing my Kindle. But I think it's also going to give me an aneurysm. So as you saw in that clip last night, I started this, and first of all, I just kind of scrolled through and I was like, right, okay, well, one of them is specifically a Valentine's romance, and I'm currently filming a romance reading vlog. So I thought that one, it's Valentine's and it's romance, it's contemporary, perfect. And that one was A Love Affair with My Boss. I typed it into my Kindle, nothing came up, and it said not in your library or in the store. I was like, that's really weird, because I wouldn't have written it down if it wasn't in my content. So I went on to my Amazon account. It was there in my orders. It says when it comes up on the screen, it said purchased in June 23. Yeah, it wouldn't let me download it to my Kindle. It was like saying that it couldn't do it and it wasn't coming up. So I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to fight with this. I can't be bothered to deal with this. Okay, fine, whatever. Another one that was great, you guys are also getting a bit of a sneak preview for March, because yesterday I filmed my TBR for March because I've rejigged all the board and I've changed a lot of the things that are going on. And one of the things that I got was Claiming Mia, which is .com Wolves. And I was like, okay, let's have when I was doing like the what are these books about bit, I started to read it, the description, and I was like, do you know what? I actually really do not want to read this. It's not going to be for me. I just know it's not going to be a me book. Maybe it would have been when I first got it, but right now, and I know my reading, I know it wasn't going to be good for me. So I decided to unhaul it. And then when I played back the footage, because I filmed the choosing of these books, well, as you can see in the video, it was back in Australia, but it was, I think, early January or even end of December that I did it. So obviously I had forgotten what books I chose, and last night I went through the footage to write down the books, and when I saw that was the first one, I was like, fantastic, that's already one that already unhauled. So at least I don't need to try a chapter of that because I already know that I don't want that. And then, like I said, Love Affair with My Boss, I didn't care enough to remove one of my KU books for it, so I've decided I'm just not going to bother with that one. Then we got on to the third selection, which was Captured. I saw it was a novella. I didn't think anything of it. I started to go through it, and in the little intro bit, it was like, this one's for all of you who enjoyed whatever the previous book is. So it turns out it's a sequel novella. Am I still interested in the main series? Yes, I am. But it's now going to be even where, if that was the first book in the series, I probably would have started reading it now. It's now going to be God knows how long before I do. So obviously that one got scratched because it's a sequel and I'm not going to read the first book for this project. I kept scrolling yet again through my Kindle, like, please find something. And eventually I settled on A Shift in Shadow. This one is a shifter who has been captured by her ex-lover, who's a vampire. And this is kind of like a prologue set years before the current time, set before the current like storyline. And honestly, I felt like this book was missing half the book. It felt like we came into this thing and we're being told, oh, he's my ex-lover. We're being told that she spent decades hunting him down after their love fell to pieces. And I'm like, I would rather have read that and then have this be book 2. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like being told hundreds of years of backstory between these two characters in a paragraph. I would rather find out by actually reading it. We kind of get this impression that she's this badass like hunter type, yet she didn't really show that. Like, granted, she's been, for just under a year, she's been held and tortured by this guy. But whenever I read these kind of badass strong females, no matter how much they've gone through, when they finally are freed, they go absolutely berserk on the guys that did that to them. She instead went into a panic attack and instantly cowled down to the guy that was rescuing her and let him do all the rescuing, do all the fighting. She just comes across as being this kind of character who puts on a front of, I'm such a badass, when in reality, she needs men to do everything for her to feel like a badass, and I'm not here for that kind of vibe. So, unfortunately, I have decided to not continue with that one either, because I can tell I just would not get into it. So that does mean that within the first evening alone, we had, well, one that was a non-starter to begin with because I can't even get the book anymore, and 3 that I won't be continuing and will now be clearing off my library. So this has actually already started off as a fantastic success. Really happy with that. Still got 6 to go, but the fact that 4 already can be taken off my unhaul, any reduction in my library will help. So we're just going to keep going. I don't know when I'm going to keep going because, as I said, I am currently reading books for a romance vlog and I really want to prioritise that because we've not got long before that goes out. I don't know when I'm going to do my next chapter. Probably not today. Anyway, I'm going to go and I'll give you some more updates soon.
Let's go get him. 1,800 points. Well, for me, you make it 1,801.
Havoc and Hauntings. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not for me. I don't know. I don't really get why it started with her giving up on her dream of being an actress. You'd think that we would spend more time with that before she gave up, or it would be after she'd already moved back home and tell us about it. It just felt... I keep finding with these books, they're starting in weird places for me. But I also just wasn't a big fan of how she's like, oh, my luscious blonde hair, and, you know, unlike most blondes in Hollywood, mine's natural. Like, cool, congrats. It just felt like a bit of an unnecessary statement. And yeah, I'm not a fan of the first person perspective in this one. I don't really like her perspective. Like, the writing's fine, and I feel like if I did read it, I'd probably give it a 3 or a 3.5, but I'm just like, it's not super engaging and grabbing me. I am struggling a bit anyway. I went from last week going 3 days with absolutely no painkillers whatsoever, which is unheard of for me, to the last 3 days, like today and the last 2 days, having one of the worst migraines I've had in years and pretty much not being able to function, not being able to focus on anything. I can't really look at screens. Like, this is on as dark, almost as dark as I can get it, and I'm struggling. I've literally just been sat for 2 days watching Drive to Survive, the Formula One Netflix documentary, because I can just put it on and it just becomes background noise. And yeah, it's just between my head deciding to explode, the weather has... the first like 10 days I was home. The weather wasn't too bad. We were still some days going up into double digits, and we didn't really have a lot of rain. It was just a bit cold, but we were still getting sunshine and blue skies. But then the last 6 days or so, we have had no sunlight. We've had, obviously it's light because it's daytime, but there's no actual sunshine. It's just been cloudy. It's been consistently below 5 degrees, and it's also been raining the last few days, which I think is why my head has gone. And also the news of Chopper, I have mentioned it in my romance reading vlog as well, so I'm not going to talk about it for long here. Obviously I'm sad because, I knew him for 3 months and I fell in love with him. So I'm sad that he's gone, but I'm also really sad for Ren. It's hard, and then with this happening, coincidentally falling on the same day, it's been a bit of a shit show of a few days. So I'm trying to read to distract myself, and at the minute this one certainly isn't helping, but I've still got a few more. I've still got 4 more to go, or 5. So yeah, I'm gonna carry on and see what I get.
You can open that, you lazy little toad. Who dat? Who dat going to?
My YouTube channel.
Gorgeous uncle.
Hello. Oh, hi. Oh, you're so cute. Hello.
Yes, I'll go on speed basically. Go on speed, as usual.
This series is going to be absolutely great for clearing books off my Kindle library, because not going to continue. I didn't even finish the first chapter. I really didn't like the writing style at all. And again, the main character has just come across as being I'm so perfect and I'm so braggy and look at me. Just, no. So, well, I'm taking a break to read one of the books on my TBR. I have 2 books that were bought for me at Ara, so I'm going to try one of these and then go back to this. But yeah, it's what, 5 for 5 or 6 for 6? The Oracle's Dream. I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. It captured me immediately. The very first sentence just made me go, ooh. And this is just the prologue. It's not even chapter 1, but I think the prologue is kind of what I would expect a chapter to be. It was sort of about 5-6 pages, and it was kind of like a lot of backstory and info dumping and world building. So I will allow that. But it's from the perspective of Death, the prologue. And Death is talking about the 7 fates that control this world, and that these fates have created different kind of creatures, including like humans and shifters and godlings, which are the worst ones. And then Death is talking about how these fates are the ones that they determine your lives. They determine whether you live, whether you die. And Death is saying, people call me the cruelest of the fates, call me the evil fate, but at the end of the day, I'm the only one that is still there to guide you through the next step when you die. And I was like, oh, amazing. I've already highlighted a couple of really cool bits that I thought were really well written. Fear is one of the fates. And it's important to tell you that fear does not stop Death's purpose. They only stop a person from living their own life. And I was like, oh my God. And yeah, they went through each of the fates. and it was just so well done, and I was really immersed straight away. Also, kudos and bonus points to the author for not only having a really in-depth trigger warnings list, but also included a map, a glossary, and a pronunciation guide. God tier author right there. This one, definitely going to keep, definitely going to continue. In fact, I kind of want to continue it right now. I think though it's quite a long book. 575 pages, so it's definitely going to be a chonker. So I might not read it right now, but it's definitely one I'm going to continue. Anyway, my storage is about to run out, so I'm going to go and I'll see you in a bit after the next one. I'm not really a fan of, it's like a collection of short stories, which I'm not a big fan of anthologies and stuff anyway. And I thought maybe I could use it to, you know, get to know a bunch of new authors, but I was just like, it never works when I try to do that. And for this, where it's like try a chapter of books, it's not going to work if each chapter is a different author. I would end up reading the whole thing. And just based on that first page, I was like, not interested. So I think I'm just gonna unhaul another one, which means we're now down to our final two. I have Power, a Mafia Suspense, and Baked and Brewed to go. So not sure which one's first. Okay, Baked and Brewed is the first one. They're sat next to each other on the Kindle, but Baked and Brewed is the next one on the order list, so I'm probably going to start with that one. Yeah, again, I'm filming after having just washed my hair. Baked and Brewed, I do not care. I feel so bad because I wanted more than one to really get me, and so far that's not happened. I just don't care. The writing is kind of meh. She's just nearly got run over by a car, and rather than being like, holy shit, I just nearly got run over by a car, she's like, holy shit, that guy that just rescued me is hot. And then starts cursing herself for falling for his rugged handsomeness. I was just like, nah, I'm done. I don't care. We have one more to try. And it's a mafia suspense romance, so I've had pretty good luck with those. The last two that I've read that have been kind of that vein, I have enjoyed, so who knows? Maybe we're on for a winner. But yeah, right now, 1 out of 9 is a win. Alas, we are ending this video with 9 out of 10 books now going to be unhauled. I mean, that's fantastic for my shelves and for clearing my TBR, but not fantastic for my reading and my sanity. Power, within the first 2 lines, I was like, the first bit was fine, the prologue was great, but then when we got to her perspective, the first 2 lines, I was put off. I'm not saying that exclamation marks should not be in a book. I just feel like outside of dialogue, if you're using exclamation marks multiple times to enunciate a point or an emotion, you're not writing very well. And we were told 3 different ways how her house was outdated. We got a very sort of beginner's guide to writing description of what she looked like. She was like, I flicked my auburn hair and looked at my green eyes in the mirror, looking at my freckle, and you know, just like she was just describing herself looking in the mirror. And it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I never describe myself when I look into a mirror. I'd be like, ugh, my hair is, You know, like right now, I'm like, my hair is drying less curly than usual. And I prefer when books describe it like that. But also, I just kind of, I didn't like the perspective of her at all. And the writing I felt was very, very juvenile, and I just did not like it. I've then looked at some reviews and people were saying that like there's a thing that happens to her where she's assaulted, and the first thing she does is like, the main guy rescues and saves her, and then she's immediately lusting after him. That gives me an ick. If you're writing a female character that's just nearly been sexually assaulted, and in the next breath she's climbing over the guy that rescued her, that's ick. That's not sexy, that's not romantic, that's messed up, and she probably should go to a therapist. And then they were saying that like there's another thing where they don't even talk, and there's dubious consent in this. So I was just like, do you know what? No. I also forgot to say for this one with the writing that the main character in this is meant to be Indian. And other than having an Indian name and references to him saying about India, nothing about him really said. And then when it came to the female perspective, she was like, his skin was tanned the colour of honey and made him look exotic. And I was just like, yeah, it wasn't the best. And I was like, wow, if you're going to write those kind of characters, you need to include actual cultural references and like food descriptors of skin colour. I thought that was like universally not done anymore. So yeah, it was just a bit cringy with the writing and everything else, and the reviews that I've read have kind of backed up my feelings, so yeah, that one's gone. So it is frustrating that it has ended this way for the first video, but at least, like I said, it's great for the fact that I am starting to clear books, and it's definitely something I want to keep doing. I've written down a little sort of, when I do this in future, I'm going to roll like a D8 or a D6. That'll determine whether I read sort of, you know, romance or fantasy or book signing event books or, you know, KU, anything like that. I've even done a monster like category, so because I've got quite a few like monster romances and stuff. I will definitely be doing this. I would like to do this at least once a month and try and sort of clear off 10 to 15 books a month if I can. And then I was going to do what Steph does, where she takes the ones that she said she will continue and then she'll pick one of those to then fully read at the end of the vlog. Because the only one that I would read is like 600 pages nearly, and I know I don't have that brain capacity right now. I will say I'm not going to continue reading any of these right now, but I will put The Oracle's Dreams somewhere on a TBR, hopefully in the near future. But for now, that is going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. I apologise if any of these books were ones that you have enjoyed or are favourite authors of yours. I'm not meaning any insult by these, it's just these are my personal views, and as I'm reading the book, these were the thoughts and feelings that I've been having. And so if you love the book, that's fantastic. I always think it's interesting when people's views of things differ. And who knows, in another frame of mind, I may have enjoyed some more of these, but the way I am right now, it needed to be kind of like my favourite style of writing, and apart from that one, none of them hit the bar for me. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these and what your thoughts were on them, or did you also choose to DNF them? And I will see you on the next one. I hope you're all good, I hope you're staying safe, and until next time, bye!